Mic check. Yeah, there we go.
Check. Can you hear me, Joe?
Can hear you. I heard some cheering. Did that come from us?
That
I
yeah,
heard.
that came from. I had to mute something real quick. That's on me.
I thought I heard the people like we used to do on Punks Rage
Yeah.
Radio. I was happy. I was excited. Hold on a second. I got Nate. Let me see what Nate up to. Okay. Okay. Nate will be here in a moment.
Cool.
All
We gotta
right.
get that. We gotta get that theme song added, man.
I'm gonna do the video. I tried to add it, but I'm gonna have to. The format has to be changed to MP4 because it wouldn't load. I don't know why. Because I was gonna do the video. We got a video version of our intro music. I was like, well, let me just put that up there. But anyway,
That's
well,
the MP4, right?
no, Spicy made it as it's a weird video format. I don't know what the format is, but it
Man,
loaded on. Huh?
no, I was gonna say just send it to me, man, and I'll reformat it.
Okay. I put it on Instagram without a problem, but like here, and I put it on YouTube without a problem, but on this, anyway. We'll get into that later. Welcome everybody. This is our third episode of Punks Rage TV. We still celebrating the Black Age of comics, and its founder Turtle Only, um, who was known as the father of the Black Age, who innovated this particular time. Well, not time of year, but like that uh,
The era.
era and the I'm trying to think of the right words. The convention that surrounded the culture of it. You know, he's the founder of it, and just the movement in general, which spread.
I would say, I would use his words because me and him used to argue about that. I would say that Black Age is a era, and he would say Black Age was a genre.
Mm,
Remember?
I remember that. I remember you. I remember you guys, but yeah. Well, I don't know. I say an era. Because what he says, he has a catchphrase which was it independent now and Black Age forever. I think it is. I can't. I'm not gonna. It's something like that. But it's a. I
I
can't
mean,
say.
it's for him. It's a ever going era.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is what we used to mean, man. I miss Tortel, man. That's what we used to, and I wouldn't go too hard body because that was my elder,
Right.
and a mentor to many regards. But I rattled the cages, and that was why he respected me and respected us and all that stuff. But yeah, I would, but you know, honoring him, I'm gonna say it was the era. And I'm gonna do both. I'm say it was the era for my own ego, and for him, it was the genre. He did the genre of Black Age, which in hindsight, that's beautiful because like it is an era, but this era is never gonna stop because Black people are infinite. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'm sorry. Cut you, but I was co-signing actually.
No, I was done. I was set.
But yeah, we're gonna bring our special guest on later on, Nathan Brendan Masters, to chop it up. Some of the topics that I got, I'm sorry, I had to move like that. But some of the topics I got, he's sort of he knows about. We're gonna talk about Kickstarter. We're gonna talk about um, as a comic book creator, when is it time to retire or to reinvent yourself or your product or both? But first, we're gonna get into the pool list a little bit, and we're gonna talk about what he feels like Turtle's impact, of course, and the Black Age of comics, the impact on the comic book industry as a whole. So we're gonna get into that as well. But first, this is the pool list. We talk about different things going on in the culture, and I'm sure Nate want to chime in on this too. We talked about this a little bit. I think maybe F1 of this. but we're gonna talk about a little bit about Diamond restructuring, filing for bankruptcy, and causing a big just a it's a big deal when pretty much, well, I shouldn't say they used to be the dominant and only distributor in all of North American comics. That's
Yeah.
changed. But they still had a lot of weight. So I can't wait to get Nate's opinion on this because I'm sure he has a lot. He's dealt with Diamond. Um,
Hmm.
and we touched on it last week or a week before. I can't remember when it was, but we talked about it when like you was.
Yeah, we had some shows about it. Yeah.
But now like it's been it's reaching a point now where like they like when restructuring happens, you think that they can actually come back. I think Diamond is done. I used to go through my books early on in my career. I went through Diamond, and they were the only player in town. When I came into comics, I think Capital was the other big distributor. And as soon as I got in, Capital and Diamond had merged. So Diamond had bought out Capital. So it's only Diamond. So they were the only player in town. So you had to go through them and accept the deal that they gave you. And those deals were really, 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 really tough. But anyway, in your opinion, D, before we get Nate on here, the shakeup, because you said you seen some other bigger distributors come in and fill that void. Do we still need Diamond with that?
I mean, limiting options is always a problem for some, and a benefit to others. Um, so like I'm not of the ilk to say of like who needs Diamond because I've never used Diamond. I'm not in that ilk of like, oh, I gotta use Diamond, I gotta get my stuff on Diamond.
Right.
And you know, and I think that's part of the reason why they've held the monopoly for so long. And that's why that now that they don't, Diamond to me is like Blockbuster Video. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? Like, once Hulu and Netflix and Crunchyroll and all of that stuff like hit, it was like, and really not even all of them. Once Netflix hit, like it was like, ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think like with the advent of tapas and and dang, what is the other one? What's the other streaming like digital streaming comic
Is it Webtoons?
webtoons? Thank you.
Yeah.
Like yeah, with tapas and webtoons, and I think there's even two others that I'm not familiar with. I'm still like, you know, like brick and mortar over click and order, but I understand, like I understand that there's a lot of people that are doing a lot of work, and getting a lot of work and making a viable, like, or at least as far as they see, a monetary gain by going digitally streaming because it is slightly different when you're doing everything. Like there's a lot of creators that are doing everything, inking, illustrating, and coloring themselves. And there's it sans the collaboration part of what we do. But that, like I told you, that reminds me of music. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Like even our brother, who's was on Punk's Rage Radio with us, Chris Turner. I saw like him announce that, man, I'm through with like books and floppies. I'm paraphrasing, but it was like, man, my stuff is gonna be exclusively, streaming on webtoons and all that stuff. He's cutting the overhead. He's not pressing up books. He's
I
not.
Yeah, no, I talked to him about that. Or we kind of had a brief little talk about it because I'm like, I may be following suit. But here's the weird thing about that. I got a sort of a thing to that, which goes into topic number two.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading this report. You can check out Yahoo Finance about comic books to back this up. But they was talking about the comic book industry as it exists today, 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And I think last year, between all formats from graphic novels to manga to I'm sorry, from graphic novels to pamphlets to digital. I don't know if they included manga. I got to check it out again. But anyway, the industry grows like somewhere around 1.4 billion, or
Mm-hmm.
as it was worth,
Mm-hmm.
and they expect it to double by 2025. Right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, by 2030. In 5 years, we're gonna double that, which I think
Mm-hmm.
is just crazy. Me and you go back and forth on Punks Rage Radio about like what we see the industry. We used to go every couple years, every 5 years, where we're gonna see it, and COVID hit, and that sort of kind of light speeded us to this point where we at now. Um, man, dude, did you think that? And there's been a resurgence in like actual physical books, like people want to
Absolutely.
hold the book in their hand. Like we've seen the physical demand come back in music. So people don't know D is a musician as well. MC Microphone Misfits, like in this title, and they sell physical, both physical music product, a CD, and a physical comic. When we was talking, we thought I don't know. I think we had this. At least me. I said maybe it's gonna be all digital in the next few years. Did you see the demand for physical coming back, and the need for people to have that stuff in their hands? Like,
Yes.
okay,
Yes. Because I mean, and I don't know if I answered your question about it, which your question before about is there still a need for it? I believe it is, and I
yeah,
believe I believe it's a benefit to some and it's not to others. Um, but to move on, just to make sure I was clear on that. But
yeah,
I've always, I never jacked that. That whole, I never jacked that. Oh, CDs are dead. I can't keep a CD. I'm always selling records. I'm always selling comics. I think people don't understand the medium anymore. Like
mm,
they don't understand the space I really, and I pick on like Chris's post, like I saw him post on social media, and I'm not dissing Chris by any means. Chris
yeah,
Turner would jump on my head, that's my brother. You know what I'm saying? But I just like I understand. I picked that out because that's somebody that's one of our own, and he's like, man, I'm going completely streaming because Chris, and I seen this with a lot of people. Chris had a hard time with, we can say because we talked about it on the show, so it ain't no secret. He had a hard time with some of the wild people that we see at cons and
right,
conventions and all of that stuff, and the selling and we're doing cons where cons are no longer comic cons. They're comic cons in name and brand alone, but
yeah,
they are niche, like we're still niche, but the convention, man, that's a pop cultural thing. And that's why so many people be like, man, I make more money in smaller cons than I do in bigger cons.
man, I got
Because
stories.
yeah, but the reason you do is because those people are genuinely lovers of the indie people, like
Hmm.
the indie cons and all of this type of stuff. So I never like struggle like, but I'm saying that from privilege because I'm in a group. Like we just did a show today, like an early morning show. Shout out to Columbia Central.
Mm,
Out in Cedar. We performed. We did in dedication for Tortel out there too. Shout out
nice.
Columbia Central. They were amazing. That show was so fun. It's like,
Mm.
man, I'd sign more autographs than I knew I could. But
Look
but
at the
anyway,
superstar over here. Look at the superstar over here.
I was just honored, and I was honored to honor Tortel and all of that stuff. So, and but like we sell books. We sell books, and it's because we can my group, the Microphone Misfits, we're musicians, we're b-boys, we're DJs, and we're MCs and rappers. So as well as like artists and graph artists. So we can fit in the pop cultural zeitgeist. Like
Yeah.
I'm at a con and I'm performing. I'm a hip hop group performing. So I'm walking multiple genres. So that's me. I'm speaking this from privilege. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're at a comic convention and you're in what's the section that C2E2 have? Authors
Oh
club.
yeah. Yeah.
Like those people feel like they're dying until like a rush of literary people that's like, I hate this comic book shit. Where's the meat and the author and the science fiction writing stuff? And then those rushes of people, that's when they get all their money. That's when they gotta turn it up, da da da, da. Or they just hope their presentation looks good, and that's when they sell their stuff. And they not, and other than that, that's it. The children's book like festival, that's when you selling your stuff. Now, if you at a comic convention, that's super hit or miss. Hell, if you at a comic convention with comics, that could be hit or miss because some of these people might just be there for the celebrities. And so if you got a bad location, it's tough. Like I have a different, we had a different experience with Fan Expo, but that's from privilege. Because we were performers and we had comic books. They was like, all right, y'all want to sell y'all wares, and the contract does say I got to give you a table. Cool. The only free table we got is over here in featured artists. So I'm right next to the creators of The Boys and the Windy City Ghostbusters. You
Damn.
understand? Across the aisle, and like down the aisle is the sister from the black girl from Power Rangers. And so you're seeing us, we're performing at the cosplay convention, we're performing at the stage for everybody to see. And then we're doing that like every day, like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then you see us perform at the cosplay as that halftime entertainment, and then you're right there because people are checking out the creators of The Boys and all of that stuff, and they like, oh man, I saw y'all did great, and da da da, and then we're on another section, so I'm saying that from privilege, but we can learn from that privilege where it's just like, oh, you have to be multifaceted, because people are only there for what they're there for. Because if you're just there for everything, you're going to be intimidated. Like, just think about it. If you went there, and you're like, I'm gonna just go, I'm gonna just see some cool stuff, and you are into everything, you're not rich. And so you get there, it's like, man, there's video game shit, there's anime, manga shit, and there's
Cosplay.
comic book stuff, the cosplayers, the
Hmm.
pictures, the celebrity autographs, and all. Man, you're gonna get overwhelmed. You're gonna
Yeah.
get overwhelmed. So most people are going there with a singular focus. So it's about like really like attracting those people and learning how to market within the con.
And
And
go
yeah,
ahead. Then letting them know
and I'm gonna
that
put a pin and like letting yourself breathe, and or just going to the niche stuff.
it
Like
was it was funny. And to add on to that, not only and plus you guys you got a catchphrase. Okay, I'm not gonna say it because I don't know how to say it right, but basically you do the commercial, you sell the I'm saying that wrong.
oh yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
you do the commercial
commercial and
and then you sell toy. You do the toy commercial, then you sell the
sell the
toy.
toy. Okay, so but so when I say that, and the reason I brought that up about the physical, because we was some years ago. If you look at our old shows, we were almost saying, well, physical was pretty much gone. I just saw Nate. Nate was just here a minute ago. Nate, where you go? Hold on a second. Come back, Nate. Come back. But anyway, um, but yeah, you put on the show, and then I mean you put on the you guys perform, and then you able to sell it. A lot of us don't have that option, but here's what I do see happen outside of just the physical form. You can tell by the amount of Kickstarters and the amount of crowdfunding projects that are being funded and overfunded for a physical in your hand paper product. It is like we remember like since the 90s, since the crash of the so-called the 90s boom, it's been people been saying, "Oh, this the industry is going apart. It's falling apart." I think it's always there's never going to be an end of comics, in my opinion, but it reinvents itself to fit the current times and what we are used to now. Because I didn't think, I mean, when Kickstarters first started, I didn't think that there would be the way. There are publishers and there are creators who publish their whole line with that. But anyway,
I wouldn't have this Escape from Babylon volume
oh yeah,
6 would not be here if it wasn't for you know
crowdfunding.
wasn't for
Yeah,
crowdfunding. Like shout out to Indiegogo.
I'm gonna ask Nate more about this because he's had maybe 4 or 5 successful crowdfundings. When he comes on, we're gonna come back to ask him more questions. But before he, until then, I think he's having some internet issues. I want to ask you a question about mainstream comics. I know we. Oh, there he is. Let me see if I can bring him on. Nate, you ready? Let's see. And see if I can add to the stage. Yeah, Mr. Masters, can you hear me?
See your
Yes,
name.
I can hear you. Hey,
There
what's
you
happening,
go.
D Nick?
What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
You
Pretty good.
you can put you can put your logo in there if you want. You can put your logo.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to be oh wait. Uh nope.
Well, don't struggle with it. We'll it'll be you'll just be the voiceless. You'll just be the
Darkness.
you'll be just the darkness.
Darkness masters.
Dude. So Nate, me and D was pontificating about them. This shows is about these shows we're doing is about the Black Age of Comics and Turf Tale only. So we're gonna talk about other comic book stuff, but in honor of him, I want to ask you the first question about him. Uh, when did you learn about the Black Age of Comics and Turf Tale only, and what do you think of his impact as far as in comics in general?
uh dude, it's it's a weird story. The first time I ever heard of Turtle, I was in I was back at Hales,
Mm.
and Father Phil told me that he knew. He's like, yeah, man, I know another guy that does comics, and he said I forget his name, but he does this kind.
Hello?
Oh man.
Oh, we lost we lost him in mid story. We'll we'll bring Nate back, but oh man, okay. So we gonna jump around a bit. When Nate comes back, we'll come back and oh here he is. He's back now. Let's see.
Dude, I
Your
don't know.
excitement it got the better of you. Okay,
You start at Father Phil. Like
yeah.
I told you about comics. That's what you were where you last left off.
Right, he was telling me about what turned out to be Nog Protector of the Pyramids.
Mm,
He didn't really remember the name of it, but are you guys hearing
Yeah.
emails popping off? Let me turn
No,
that
no,
off.
no. We just hear you.
I
We
don't
hear
hear
you.
anything.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he was telling me about that, and I think he had a copy of it, and he gave it to me. So I guess Tatel had given it to him, and he gave it to me, and I had it around here for some like a long time. I don't know where it is, but he gave it to me, and I kind of looked. I was like what is this? But I didn't know anything about I didn't know anything about it until the like I didn't know how this kind of undercurrent of black comic book creators and stuff. I didn't know anything about that until the 90s, until the black age itself actually jumped off, and it was like, wait, that's that dude. And I would see his books, and up at Relief, they would have them. One day, I just started seeing them on the shelf. It was that, and he had a book called Sister Girl.
Yep.
Yep. He loved that.
Mm.
That was his baby.
That was his, that was. But I remember seeing it, and I was like, oh, that like. Didn't he do one where they like all three of them teamed up? It was like Nog, Sister Girl, and
Malcolm
Malcolm
10.
10.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to see all that, dude. Like all that stuff I used to see in the store. So that's how I actually learned about them. So
It's funny you say that, Nate. I got a funny story as it relates to that. As far as like how you learn, I was going to the barber shop in Hyde Park, and it was my first time going. And the barber learned I do comics. We start talking. He's like, "Hey, you do comics?" I know a guy who does comics. He literally goes to his drawer and yanks the drawer out and pulls out like 5 or 6 Turtell books, and he was actually Turtell was a client. I didn't know that of that same barber. I'm going, in Hyde Park. We anyway. He's known.
right.
Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, so we was talking and about like of course this is the show we talk about them, and you just elaborated about that. We was talking about when me and Turtle was talking a lot about how comics are going to move forward. Me and D was just talking a moment ago about like the physical comics still being in demand, and we just talked about Diamond biting the dust, dude. Isn't that crazy? Diamond distribution biting the dust.
It's not the
Um,
first time.
I was
It's
telling
not
D,
the
like when I
first
first
time.
came into the game, they were restructuring in, and but it was different. They were on they were buying capital. Remember,
Right.
um, I was just coming into the game. Um, I'm gonna ask a question. Me and Turtle used to always talk about how to distribute comics, and I just got D's thought about that. You've done some successful crowdfunding and Kickstarters throughout your, the last few years. The physical demand of the comic, do you still see that? Like I just told D a projection that they got for comics in the next 5 years. They project the amount of profit for comic books in the next 5 years to grow from 1.4 to 2.3 billion.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Right, and this is all from paper, from physical to
But
your
let me
success.
ask you.
Well,
Uh,
go
oh, I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you've had successful Kickstarters, and I was asking D, do you see that still that hunger? I mean, we're talking about distribution channels, that hunger for like the actual physical format of a comic, like versus what we thought when digital comics came. We was like, oh my god, they're gonna take. Nate's gone again. His internet, man. We gonna
Oh
have to.
yeah, we gonna bring. He gonna pop in when we.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um.
man, I want to say something
Go
like
ahead, D.
just quick on the legacy of Tortel,
Yeah.
and it's so beautiful, like the way it happened. Like, cause like we did a show this morning, like
Hmm.
Misfits, all of us. We were the Magnificent Seven. Even Chicken Man was there. It was all 6 of us.
Jet was that too.
Yes,
With
yes,
that sweet, my logo up there
yeah,
reflects the Misfits
yeah.
have a logo similar
A
to that, but we'll get into that
A
later.
E I O N U, and sometimes Y. Sometimes Y was there,
Right.
and but the beautiful thing is a classic former student of Tortel. Um, his name is Matt Hansel. Shout out to Matt Hansel, who now he has the license and does Underdog comics. Remember the cartoon?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and his sister works in the library at this school, and because I was the one that told Matt about Tortel's passing, and I didn't know that Tortel and like was because Matt is like older than me. I didn't know that Tortel was like a mentor of him, and he was like, "That's the dude with the Black Age of Comics and all of that stuff." And he just really, and so like his web, like so for me to be involved with them and his and Matt's sister, like our first comic convention, we were on tour, the first people to really embrace us, and they weren't even black, what I'm saying, aside from you, Joe,
Right.
was the Hensels. And because she was assisting him, and so she booked us for this show, and we really needed this show. It was a nice payday for us. And
Good.
then we got the tribute Tortel, and like I just think about like that's his legacy. If it not for him, these people would not be strong in that place for us to all still be collaborating. And that's and they not even black, but that just goes to prove what he used to always say, like Black
Yep.
Age is not
Yep.
just exclusively for us. It is it's centered with us, but you know, it is for everyone. It shouldn't be nothing to be afraid of. And I salute to the Hensels for you know, not being afraid. And that's Tortel, man.
Yeah.
It's
Wait, hold. We brought Nate back. Nate,
yes.
how's your internet connection right now? Are we
The,
good?
we're good. I'm gonna not touch. I've always had problems streaming, so I'm gonna not touch anything, and hopefully everything should be all right. Like the connection is fine, and it's the like the studio is you know, I start touching around with stuff and stuff starts going haywire. So
Like,
we're gonna keep hands off.
sound like you eating grapes, man. Stop eating the grapes. But anyway, no. Uh, so we was talking when you got cut off this last time. We was talking about the demand for the physical, and then me and Turtel used to always we sit and talk about distribution ways, and he didn't really. I don't know. We really got into the era of crowdfunding. He was more or less into putting it into brick and mortar. Matter of fact, he was so into it. I said this on another show. He bought a bunch of racks to put. Fast forward to now, where we in this age where we do have Kickstarters and crowdfunding. Is is that the in your opinion is that the new way to or is it one of the new ways for indies guys to publish and be
it's
successful with a physical book?
yeah, it's a thing of for me. Well, first off, let me say this, and I don't know how D Nick feels on this, but for me personally, it hasn't been successful yet. You have to
Mm.
build up. Everything is just like anything with social media, YouTube, Facebook, any you got to build up. So like right now we're doing a campaign now, and we got our goal. We're doing the dark campaign, and that's on Kickstarter. We did the goal. Goal was 1,300, but that's the bare bones goal. You see what I'm saying? So you got to pay people.
Wait. Let
Uh,
me ask you this. Sorry about that, Nate. I want to ask about that just real quick, just for a Pacific. Of
mhm,
that is because I know usually you have a PDF option. How many
mhm.
physical books is it more physical you see them being purchased, or is it a combination of both? What's the majority of purchases being made as it relates more physical or more digital or both?
A lot of times it's physical. Physical tends to
Okay.
be the majority of books, but what you're getting is a lot of times people are going to do PDF if they're overseas and they don't want to pay the high postage
Right.
because postage overseas is ridiculous.
Oh,
Uh,
I know.
it's
Ooh, I know.
it's stupidly ridiculous. And
Right.
then of course you have people who say, "Well, I just want to support, so I
Right.
throw get the $5 copy. Maybe let me just check it out. I get that." And then you got people who are just all in and say, "Okay, well this looks good, and I'll get the digital." And if it's something if they like it, they'll come back next time and get the physical.
Okay.
So the physical books are actually doing very well. The If you get a lot of digital copies though, if you could get like say a large amount, let's just say you got 100 people ordering digital, and it's $5 a pop. Well, that's obviously that's $500. So if you can get that, you're good, and that's money that you know for a fact is your money because you're not going to have to print and you're not going to have to uh, you're not going to have to go do anything like postage or anything. That is straight up your money.
Right.
But you're not going to, unless you're one of those big, the big guys, you're Paluto or somebody, you're probably not going to end up with 500 digital sales. But it goes like that. And if you're getting the bottom of your, well, first off, let me put it like this: it's a calculation thing. You should always calculate how much it's going to cost you to get everything together. You got to pay people. Even like I do some AI stuff like with my covers and stuff. Got to pay artists because artists still come in and they got to fix that stuff up because that stuff is it don't come out. A lot of people think that's free stuff. That's not free stuff. You got to pay people to fix that stuff up. If you're a digital artist, you can do it, but everybody knows I'm still on board and I'm still on board and ink.
Right.
So You got to pay for that. You got to pay for obviously the printing. You got to pay for your paper, your art supplies, all that stuff. You got to pay for those things. So what ends up happening is when you set all that up, you got to say, okay, well, how much does this cost at in general? How much is this going to be? Some of this stuff, since I'm drawing it myself, that's a cost that I don't have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
But you throw that out there. You say, okay, this is what I can do. It. I usually start around 1,300. So you get that. The last thing we did that, made a profit, but it was about what, like $200-300. You know what I'm saying? So
Not
you're
bad.
not rolling in dough just yet. Then the more you build, I think the next one we're going to be doing. We're probably going to do breeder next, and then move that into. We're probably going to move it into uh, what's the next book? The next curse risen book, the book the unification, and we're gonna go from there because that's gonna be everything. It's gonna be like Victor Locke and the Rise of Magic and Night Evil and all that stuff in one book. So that's what we're looking at right now. I think the next two books are going to be pretty big. They're in full color. A lot of art is already done. So I think there's going to be money there. And again, it's still, and plus, I'm going to be a lot more able to promote those books because some of that stuff I'm still working on. And I can get YouTube videos and stuff out of it. So
So
everything's promotion.
so the demand for physical through Kickstarter is still, or through crowdfunding is the way. Thank you, Nate, for
Yes.
that. Dave, you got a question? I got
No,
I got something to follow up.
yeah, I want to go back because man, like Master Darkness Masters, like he said something powerful that I like as after coming off of a can crowdfunding campaign that like he said something that was really powerful that can't be glazed over, and a lot of people glaze over it when we talk about this. Like he said, you have to build up and campaign, and like that is really a thing. You really got to do that, and I can imagine Kickstarter is even more intense. I got denied. Like I got denied Kickstarter, and my appeal got rejected. I had to go to
Jesus.
Indiegogo, and we we made it. We didn't even like hit our goal, but we got pretty damn close, and so we were able to put this bad boy out, and and I was happy with the Indiegogo thing. And then I learned a lot more about Kickstarter. Like that's a whole culture in itself, and Indiegogo is a whole culture
Yep.
in itself.
Hmm.
I was like, oh my god, like these are
And
strangers. These ain't even Misfit fans. And so when he say like campaign, you really got a campaign. I was looking at some people's like Kickstarter like commercials. I was like, that's gotta be what you pay for that advertisement. Got to be more than a buck. Like,
Well, and you
and
know what? D had
uh,
asked me some questions. I'm sorry, Nate. You can go right to this, but D had asked me some questions before he fired it off. I wasn't sure because I did one in like 2010, and I'm sure that's changed. The climate has changed completely from 2010. But go ahead, Nate. I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
but for Indiegogo, you definitely got a campaign. Indiegogo is much harder to get the word out of because,
yes.
like you said, Kickstarter has its own thing. It's its own thing, and people cross over, but there are people who go to Kickstarter to see what the new thing is. And Indiegogo has clicks. There are clicks on Indiegogo. I mean, y'all know Comicsgate is they're over on Indiegogo, but they're a click. They support each other's books and stuff. Now you got some of them moving over to Kickstarter. I know some of the old schoolers,
Excuse
old
me.
'90s people are over there. Obviously, Peludo is over there. Dan Mendoza is over there. Everett Hartsoul is over there. It's
Mm.
just it's there's they're completely different, animal. Like the first thing I put up on Kickstarter, uh, I didn't even have to advertise. Well, I mean, we didn't make a lot of money, but it made something. We our goal was $500, and we made 500. Maybe made like maybe 600, but we made more. We made it. No advertising, no campaigning. I think we were already half making it before I even said anything to anybody about it, because there are people who legitimately go to the comic book section to look up comics. And people, they have these little sections like for bag luggage and design and stuff like that. And there are people who go and just look to see what it is. And of course, if you got advertising, and right now we're building up on YouTube for the our art channel, and we're building up over there too for the Nathyn Express channel. And a lot of that, there's like so much difference, because I do a lot of commentary stuff on that channel, and I do artwork, art commentary. So I'm drawing and doing commentary, and that's building up. Like the last video I did, that was like a big hit. We pulled in like 200 or 300 subs off that video alone. Actually got to get back to that, because if that blows up, that's a nice other side hustle. That's you got more income coming in. So it's a lot of it's a lot to think about and a lot to do, especially if you're doing it all by yourself. So, but the money's there. It's not a it's very. I mean, we saw Mendoza's campaign. He did like over 100 G. So.
I want to go. I want
Thank
to.
you for that, Nate. Thank you.
Yeah.
And any jewels you want to give about the 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 do's and don'ts in the campaign, please feel free. I can't speak to Kickstarter because they Kickstarter kicked us out. They were like, nah, y'all go like entertain your fans and Indiegogo.
What was the problem at Kickstarter? What did they give you any explanation?
They you know what they were like they gave us some pointers. They were really cryptic, and so
that's Kickstarter.
Yeah. So, but I talked to some people, and I was blessed to talk to some people who had a successful campaign, and it was like, they said it, and it's no offense to anybody, They were like, you formatted this like a GoFundMe, like please help me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
no, they're not gonna go for that, because you're not trying to get sympathy for your work. You're just trying to advertise your work. And
right.
they were like, Indiegogo is like, it was like Indiegogo is for people that kind of want a little sympathy, but they're still like, yo, this is happening. Kickstarter is like, this is happening, and GoFundMe is for like, if you're struggling, help me out.
Kickstarter is to take. You want people to say, take my money at Kickstarter.
Right.
And I tell you, I've been trying to get on Joe forever. For the song you guys did for Punks of Rage.
Yeah.
He's got that video up.
Yeah.
Drop that on Kickstarter. I've been telling them, like, bro, people will lose their. That's cold.
Well,
people in the song and
we're gonna have it
everything.
on this channel.
Perfect.
But because of those characters, I would have to get D to do another one, because those characters have changed. But we'll talk about that behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, even with the original graphic novel, because everybody don't
Oh
have it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
a
true.
whole new audience. You dropped
That's
that
true.
original. I mean, you got everything going already. You got the video. You got the book. You could change up the covers. I mean, you ready to go. And that video is perfect.
We're gonna discuss that later when we do a Kickstarter show. But because I do got plans for that. I want to talk about certain things, and we're gonna, because we got some time. But what I want to start doing, especially when we have a bunch of comic book guests on, you, Nate and D, and we're all comic book creators and fans. And so I want to talk more about some fandom or just general stuff going on in the culture of comics. We haven't talked about as much. And one of the last memory I got with Turtle, we went to First Aid Comics in Hyde Park, and he did something that was really cool and really slick. I thought it was dope. He started a debate. We was getting ready to celebrate, do a Black Age show the next day, but what he did at that gathering was a bunch of comic book heads. He started a debate about uh Darkseid. I guess his favorite villain in DC or probably in comics is Darkseid. So he brought up a hypothetical debate who will win, him versus Thanos, and this that, and it got us all going. And I watched, and we were all debating. And he walked away and started smiling, and it was like kind of like a cool little thing for him to do. As it relates, it was funny, it was hilarious, but we gonna talk a little bit about comics now and DC. To bring up Turtel and what he was getting started. Okay, so his back to the when we say everybody's saying the sky is falling as it relates to North American comics, and I mean like the not manga and not anything like that. Must speak specifically to DC and Marvel, the two tent poles of the industry, right? Supposedly,
Mhm.
they just had a big hit this last year with the Absolute Batman series. Number one did 400,000 sales of both more physical. I think it was like 300 some thousand physical, and like the rest was like digital. Massive book for this day and age, right?
Yep.
So now DC is relaunching. I guess they had success. Penguin was a big hit. The series on Max. They're
Mhm.
coming out with. They got some heavy hitters. Jorge Jimenez and Matt Fraction will be relaunching Batman number one. Are we at a point where we need to do that now? And I'm gonna go with you D first, and then Nate, you come in. Do we need to kind of reinvent these big characters, or redo make another number one? Because number one used to be a big deal, right? When you come out with a number one, that's a starting something. You starting something fresh. That man's been around forever, over 70 years. And I had a question earlier about, do we reinvent or retire the character or creator? Should we do a Batman reinvent, do the Batman number one again? In your opinion,
Um, I mean,
we need to, I should say.
for me, in my age, no, but
Right,
like, but you, man, if you ain't growing, you dying,
right.
and there's a like, again, shout out to Tortel. Like, we did a show today, this morning, and people were like, y'all did a hip hop concert this morning. We did a concert this morning, and we were honoring Tortel, and it was packed. But none of those people were, other than the instructors, were adults. Most of those were like 100 kids. They were
Mm,
kids. You know what I'm saying? We might have been there probably second live concert ever. You know what I'm saying? And
wow.
maybe third, and for some of them, maybe they first. You know what I'm saying? So if not them, like it's like you gave those numbers for the new Batman, but you know what's outselling Batman? Captain Underpants.
Ooh,
Captain Underpants is outselling Batman. You know, Dogman is outselling Batman. So you have to hit the young.
I just learned what Dogman is like
Me
last week.
too.
At my gig, one of my manager's kid is into that, and I didn't know nothing about it. I'm like, oh my sweet, oh like, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta get on it, because like sometimes I'll miss a whole generation of like of and that's I think I got to be aware of too, to not be a prisoner in what I thought.
But it's okay to be a prisoner. We're in the PC age. People think that just stands for political correctness. That stands for personal computer and personal choice. Like they,
But
you
but
got to
just so I'll be aware, because I'll be totally they'll saying, did you see so so so? Oh snap! Should I? And I'll just at least go learn what. Not that I'm gonna get him, love it or whatever. But just to have a general, I don't know. I didn't know what Dogman even was at all. But this is like you just said, it's a massive amongst like maybe I don't know 8 to maybe even younger upwards. They love
Mm.
it, and so I have to at least be aware of it, considering I call myself being in this thing.
And the
But
bad
go ahead,
guys,
go
the
ahead, huh?
the bad
No,
guys.
I'm gonna go to you, Nate. So D just said, "What should we start Batman all over to grab that new audience, that younger audience?"
Sure. And not only are they starting it over, they went back to the old suit minus they don't have the yellow on there, but they got the black and gray and
Yeah,
the
and blue.
Batman
Yeah,
and blue. Yeah, so it's but they do it, but DC does it every few years they do it, so it's nothing new to them. They that's the way they keep. I mean, think about it like this. Uh, I remember when I was pushing pushing a book and the guy and I was trying to do my black thing. This was before the actually before the black age blew up. I was
hmm
trying to do my brother man thing. My
Mm.
black it's a black man. It's a black superhero.
Yeah, yeah.
And brother walked up to me and was like, "All right, I see he's a black superhero. Now tell me why I should buy him instead of Batman." I said, "Gas, no." I
not the
I
gas.
I I had nothing for that, and that always stuck with me. But Batman is Batman for a reason because he keeps being put out there. He keeps being made, and he keeps up with the times. Back in the 60s, he was Goofy Batman, pow, zoom, bap. And then he became Dark Batman, the Dark Knight. And then every generation there's a Batman, and he's a type of different way. And he's the same character, but he's Batman.
And
Uh,
before
and,
all of that, he had like a snub nose
Yeah, the piece. Yeah,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
piece.
he was
He
a
was
straight
blasted.
detective. Yeah.
that's looked over too. Nobody they've written him in such a way where he's almost like scared to touch a gun, or he'll have some kind of fit.
He's
But he
anti-gun.
but he had
Yeah,
a
But
piece.
he's into a gun.
original Batman was busting.
Not only
Yeah,
that,
he
man.
was he was based off the shadow.
The shadow, yeah. Well, hold. I'm gonna go more into this as it relates
And
to
so is
comics.
Victor Locke a little bit too. Not his look is kind of
Yeah,
based off the shadow.
exactly.
Well, okay. When we start the show, every show we always go with the pull list as to talk about stuff besides the general main topic, which is to have you on here, Nate, and talk about Black Age, and me and D to pontificate further on it. Um, what's on your pull list? What are you reading in comics, Nate? I'm putting you on the spot right
Uh,
now, right here on the show,
D,
right now.
D just said it. Absolute Batman.
Absolute Batman. Okay.
Absolute
Is there
Batman.
anything else?
Uh, let's see. Well, it's like little indie stuff. Nobody's really heard of.
Okay. Okay.
But that's the biggest thing I'm reading now. I have Absolute Superman. I didn't get to it. I couldn't find Absolute Wonder Woman.
I
I
think
think
there
I
is
think this.
one. I can't.
There
But
is, there is. I haven't
Yeah, but I
checked.
think they sold out though. I think so. People are buying that too.
yeah, the
Uh,
Absolute series has been a massive. Here's another thing too.
Great.
From what I understand, those when it comes to the demographics, those they lean very adult. um, especially Absolute, like DC in general has done something. They've leaned adult a lot in the last maybe 2 3 years. Like a lot of their comics, and they're doing really good. It's very like adult material as it relates. D, what's on your pull list? What are you fanning out on? What is there anything you pulling off the shelf?
Oh man, it's a lot of indie stuff. I'm similar. A lot of indie stuff. I really like that. On Soul Quest, I like. I just like what Shout out to Segibot. To me,
Mm,
he's always gonna be Shintendo, but shout out to Shintendo 64 Segibot. Like I really like that. I had got that when the kid was born, and so that was like something I was just reading, and like they had a, he does his own manga, but it's a thick book, but he has one side for an American reader where it's, standard, left to right, and then you can flip it upside down and it's right to left and all that stuff. So I'm like, oh man, I like this, and so I've been really reading that and trying to get into that. And I'm trying to pick back on the new Spawn. It's not sticking with me. So I'm gonna delve into Ultimate Batman. I've finished the Ninja Turtles, the last
The
Ronin.
Ronin, yes,
That was
that's on my pull list. That is
that was
fantastic.
dope. I wish that it was done, but like it looked
Oh,
like
they finna milk that. They finna
it
milk.
looked like some more is
Yeah,
gonna be coming.
it should have been done because it was a great story, but they got the kids now and the younger. They finna milk that for. But that was a great. If you was the Captain Turtles whole saga with that, I'd have been happy. But they
Yeah.
not. This is not the world we live in. We gotta
Yeah,
they
they're
gotta
not.
they gotta they
They're
gotta
not.
they
Not,
gotta rich it, drain
not
it.
teenage. It's not a teenage mutant ninja turtle anymore.
He's he's
It's
not.
the last Ronin. So
He is a complete adult. But anyway, now we gonna introduce something else. We go call it we go into the drummer files and we talked about this. We didn't talk about this exactly, but we talked about the person last show. Um and one was about Rob Liefeld, fame creator, who I looked up to as a kid. Like he was Rob. I mean, that whole clique: Todd McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee. We all know that from them going from Marvel to Image. Anyway, last show we talked about how he wasn't. How does credit go? We not gonna get into that now, but like because he's the creator of Deadpool with Fabian. I can't pronounce his last name. Niaza. But Joe Kelly put a lot of he broke the fourth wall with Deadpool, which is a big factor in that Deadpool character. We won't get into that right now because me and D covered that last. Unless you got something to say about that, Nate, about you know. Okay,
I didn't even know. I didn't even know that.
I'll pose the question. Well, okay, I'll just pose a question and you can answer it. Then we'll move on. We only got so much time. Um, Rob Liefeld and then Fabian. I'm just gonna say Fabian because I can't pronounce
Fabian, yeah, Fabian.
his last name. They created the character of Deadpool, but Joe Kelly is the writer who had Deadpool break the fourth wall and become the Merc with the mouth as we know him now. Very popular. Does Joe Kelly deserve anything as it relates to the creative credit of Deadpool in your opinion?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, you say yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, if that's if he's if he
Legal. Hold on,
contributed.
let me be specific. Legally or morally
Uh,
or both.
I would say both. If you are a creator of something, and the thing people notice about the thing you created is the thing that the writer put in there, then that writer should. I mean, that goes again, going back to Batman and going back to a lot of those old superheroes where people did things that they added things that those characters became known for, added little tidbits and things to those characters, and they didn't get any credit for. And now some of those people are getting credit. Now people are like, oh, I mean, even oh man, I forget. Well, there's been a few of those things where people's like, hey, this guy did this, this, and
That's
this.
a different thing, though, Nate.
Wait, I'm gonna let D go ahead and rebuttal real
That's a
quick
different
as
that's a
his thoughts
different
on it.
thing. He's not getting credit. He wants he gets credit for like doing the fourth wall breaking.
Joe Kelly hasn't
And
demanded anything. I'm just saying that I'm not.
no,
Just so you
I'm
know,
just,
he hasn't
he's
asked for anything, but
he
it was a question posed somewhere else that I brought here. Go
nah,
ahead, Nate.
he's yeah. The question poses: should he be put in as a creator? I have the stance as nah. He's a session musician. You didn't, you were brought into the studio to play this lick, and then get out. You're not the producer or the songwriter or the composer.
I,
Treating that
I,
man like the funky drummer. Go ahead,
I,
Nate.
Yeah.
I feel where you're coming from. The only issue I have is that it became so much of his personality of what he does. It's like if he let's just say he came in and wrote a few stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a few stories and then he was out and
Mm-hmm.
nothing came. Okay, whatever. It's like with like a lot of my characters, I write all my stuff. One of the reasons I write all my stuff is because I don't want a situation like that. I don't want a situation where someone comes in and they said, I created this character, or I did this thing, or I added this thing. And then when it blows up, I got to go like, okay, well, how do I divvy this money out? Because this person did do this and it got popular. So the same thing is true here, where he is the Merc with the mouse, but when did he become that? And if that's that thing, because if Deadpool stops the fourth wall breaking and stuff, he ain't Deadpool anymore. He's just another superhero that I guess you know what I'm saying. It's nothing makes you stop and go, oh yeah, that's Deadpool. That's the guy I want to see. Half the stuff that makes you want to see Deadpool is the goofy stuff he says, how he acts, what he does. His personality. And if he doesn't have that, well, then what is he? I mean, because I'm almost certain
He's a merc.
Rob Liefeld's thing is Deadpool jumping around and shooting things. That's Rob Liefeld's
Right.
contribution to that character,
I
as to
mean,
many others.
it,
But
you got a that was a good deal. You got a good session musician.
Now, because I don't know what Rob had in his Deadpool deal. I don't think he's even. I don't know if he's disclosed it, but I know he went around when Deadpool. This whole run of Deadpool, he's made it known to the fandom in comics that he's the creator, and I don't know if because I know he was doing some Marvel work, but okay, we gonna keep the drama files going with the same person. So um earlier this year, I'm in his Facebook group, and Rob was like, "Look, man, I'm letting people know if you come for me, this, like I'm not letting it slide like I used to. You say some stuff about me, I'm gonna fire back." And he's been true to his word. He's not taking no guff from anybody, big, small, whatever. You can be a fan, you can be a big time movie mogul in this instance, and he's gonna get that work. So anybody who's listening out there, watch this later. Check out Rob Liefeld's podcast. It's called Robservations. And when you got his ire, he lets you know. So I want you guys both feelings on this. We're gonna close up shop in a minute, but we're gonna kind of keep this part going because we do comics, right?
Yeah.
Um, so he on his latest one of his latest podcasts, he talked about this incident that happened, whereas they had the big premiere of Wolverine and Deadpool at wherever studios. He was there, but he wasn't allowed to come to the after party, and they took pictures of him and his family, and it one posted with like the stars and the celebrities and such, and he felt some type of way about that. That said, when you guys listen to that podcast, he'll let you know he's saying no uncertain words how he feels. And now since then he said this later, but early in the year he said he's not doing no more Deadpool work. He's not doing no more Marvel work. He's done. He's putting all his work into Extreme and primarily into the new launch of Youngblood, which is his creator-owned property.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about because he's coming for Kevin Feige's neck. Like you listen to that podcast, he goes. Um, your thoughts on that? D, you can go, and then Nate, right to D. Like, should the creator of said book be like this is a film? Do they have that? Should they get that sort of privilege to come to the be treated like the cast or whatever, or they just in his case just kind of like left outside in the cold and you know
So the question is, should he be
should he be allowed to come to the after party with the rest of the stars, celebrities, and the people who played a part in making that movie?
It'd be nice. Like I'm not gonna say no. Like he shouldn't. It'd be nice. It's it would be nice, and it would be like honorable and admirable. But like as an obligation, oh man, that's kind of a struggle Like it's not really an obligation. It just, you know, like if we asking legally or we asking morally.
No, that's
Morally,
morally. It's morally
yeah,
because there's no
morally, I
legal.
would. If he ain't finna be an asshole and like take his pants off and run around, then yeah. Or if he ain't cussing everybody out, then cool. If that is a threat, then nah. But I think he's not obligated to be there.
Okay.
Like so. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice, but
If-
you ain't entitled. That's the word. You're
okay.
not entitled to be there. It would just be
Nate,
nice.
Nate, what do you should they let that man in with the rest of the cast and the crew who made Deadpool happen? He is the guy who drew him. That design that he drew is up on that screen in live action. My
I
thought,
was
yes. Go ahead, Nate.
I would say 100% yes, but what I'm looking at is okay. So, uh, dude, anything going on is always some backdoor politics and shit involved.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what are the politics involved? Is it because a lot of times in Hollywood, it's just a bunch of people saying we're up here and you're down here. The constant problem that is happening in comic books with comic book movies, and you see this a lot, especially over at Warner Brothers, is the film people look down on comic books. From what I understand, they look down on comic books, which is weird because comic books is making a lot of people rich in the film industry right now.
Say that
But
again.
still, they're looking at the comic book writers like you guys are over there. This is why you'll see things happen in comic book movies that piss fans off, and they're like, "F off," and then suddenly their movie's not making any money, and they don't understand why. It's because you're you look down on the creators and therefore you look down on the fans. So to me it seems like their thing is, well, Rob is that comic book guy. He doesn't belong up here with us because we're the big shots. We're Hollywood. But you're Hollywood making money off of that comic book guy. And so I think he definitely should be there. I don't really, to me, that's an ego thing, and that's a big Hollywood thing of always saying, well, we're Hollywood. And right now you see, I mean, you saw that with the birth of YouTube, the birth of social media, legacy media. You know how legacy media was when YouTube first started jumping off. They was scared and they was mad because people were watching. People were watching YouTube. I mean, look at the cord cutters, right?
Yeah.
How many people are watching cable right now? Anybody watching cable?
I mean,
Not really.
like old folks' homes and like prisons and hospitals.
No, nobody. Everybody's watching streaming. I could tell you, I haven't seen. I mean, I got Amazon Prime. I got HBO. 9 times out of 10, I'm watching YouTube. So legacy media still wants to be that we're up here, you're down there, and that's in everything. If you're doing comic books, if you're doing YouTube, social media, whatever it is, that we're up here, you're down there. Stay in your lane, and that's all I think that was. So that's why I'm very much kind of like, yeah, they like I understand what Rob is saying because I think it's ego for them. And if you can own your own thing, you'll never be uh, slighted from your own stuff.
And
So,
that's all. That's a psyop too, Nate. Like it is, and like we're in the business of egos, so that's always at play.
yep,
It's always ego, but it's also too it's money. Like when you look at like set designs, like every stage of set designs, costume designs, and all of that stuff, like they get
yep,
paid for every single stage because they're in union. The reason one of the reasons that they don't like comic book artists is because all of that scenic stuff is like these are paychecks that the grunts are losing, because
mm-hmm.
like because it's already done. You already have,
The
you
stuff's
know,
drawn up.
screenshots and all of that stuff. So you're adding on or making variations to this. You know what I'm saying? But you're not conceiving it from word to this is what, like, you know, before it's like I want it to be like this and this and this, and they got to go through draft. No, I don't like that. Do it all over again. It's like, okay, no, I don't like that. Like there's like 5 of those before you get the right one. But
Right.
like if it's like, yo, I like this Iron Man, but I want to get rid of this and just do it like that. Okay, do. How about that? Perfect. You already have a frame of reference, and they don't like that's a check that they just lost. Maybe
That
5
that that
checks.
that makes sense. A
You
lot
know
a
what
lot
I'm
of what goes on is about money and it's
saying?
I mean that's again going back to AI. That's a big deal with the AI thing is about money as well. Again, and also about people not understanding how things work. You got that with that, especially when you start talking to artists and things. So like for some reason there's this big thing of being like a starving artist. Apparently that's the end thing you're supposed to want. That
Who?
nobody exactly. Yeah, thank you, thank you.
That's never that's romanticized. That's not what's up.
Dude, you would be so shocked at some of the dude. I did a whole video. There's this girl named Kelsey Rodriguez, and this dude did a whole video about her and how she's not an artist. I'm like, she's running an art business. What are you talking about? Yeah, if you run an art business, a lot of what you do ain't gonna be art. that's but I mean, you an artist, you gotta survive and the reality of the situation is that art is not the value of art is not what a lot of artists think it is. A lot of artists think that art is worth thousands of dollars. It's only worth that when somebody thinks it is.
Man,
And
say that again,
it's
boy. Woo.
it's it's you you
And
you can't come into something. You can't
duct
come
tape
into
banana,
something.
man. Duct tape
Right.
banana.
You can't come into something and tell people this is what it's gonna be. First off, if you gotta be like I sold like all the covers I did for this thing. I sold all the originals in this Kickstarter. So we talked about 3 originals. I sold.
Thanks.
So I priced those originals to sell. We're talking 125. One was $75, I think. One was 20. So you come in, if you got clout and you real good, you can dictate a price, but that price is still only if somebody thinks that you're good enough to give them that price. I mean, you look at the big shots; they're demanding hundreds of dollars, and they're getting it. So your art is worth what people think it's worth, and you can name a price. That don't mean people are gonna pay it. So that's another thing I'm seeing with the new artists now. Excuse me, the new artists now. There's a lot of entitlement that I'm looking at and going, that's not how anything works. And I see a lot of money is going to be lost because you think that this is a Nine Inch Nails song. I mean, we are not in this together. This you're competition, and I'm trying to do this over here. It's like, yeah, you can help a friend out, and I help a friend
Say
out.
it again for the
You know,
people in the back.
it is. It's competition. It's a weird. I've never seen anything like it, uh, and I know that like, and it's all kind of bullshit too because you look at what people are saying and you look at what people are doing, and those things are very different. Because you're saying, well, if it's this, and you say it's like this in one instance, and then you say it's this other thing. But what are you in this for? Oh, you want to get your money? Okay, so we all trying to do that, right? And it becomes this thing where people think somehow that everybody's supposed to be helping each other out, which is cool from a certain perspective. But the maximum goal is this is not a, this is a business. This is not us coming together and forming a group. We're not a team. I am the creator, publisher. I'm putting the money in. I'm taking the risk. If this fails, it's on me. You coming in from over here somewhere, you don't take the even if I pay you a certain amount of money to draw. I mean, going back to what we were talking about, but if I pay you a certain amount of money to draw, that's what I need from you. I need you to draw. No, you're not going to get paid what I get paid. Hell, a lot of times I don't get paid what you get paid because you actually walk away with some cash because you're going to get paid or you don't draw. Me, if it don't work, it don't work. And I'm sitting there, I did 28 pages, and you mad about some AI shit I did on the cover. It's like, nigga, I done did 28 pages. What you
just
talking about?
it's falling apart. Okay, it's getting
No,
late.
I'm dude. No, you know what?
Yeah,
I
no,
had to, I
No,
had to
no,
deal with a,
you good.
I had to deal with a,
You good.
that dude I was telling you about who was coming after Heart Cell. He's
Oh yeah.
he's been annoying me, and I'm like, the first time I went in on him, and like he dropped me a, he ain't saying nothing crazy. What he's doing is he's just concerned trolling. He's kind of needling, He don't say nothing crazy. He just drops this little no AI banner in there, and I'm like, and I just didn't even respond this time. I'm like, bro, nobody cares about your fight with that dude. I don't care what y'all got. And plus, he's making like, I think the cherry thing he's doing just made like what 50. It made a lot of money because he's doing the cherry book, and he's making. I'm like, dude, get off my ass. I'm trying to make money like you're trying to make money. What you doing?
Nate, we gonna bring
So
you. We go ahead. Go ahead.
it's
We go.
it's
let him
just
cook, Joe. Let him
Go ahead.
cook,
Go
Joe.
ahead. Go ahead.
Let
Go.
him
No, go
cook.
ahead, Nate. No, I ain't. It's just that I
yeah.
know our time. This our time is
It's
about up. But go ahead,
nah,
Nate.
dude.
I don't got nothing against. Actually, we might have
It's
you
just
come
crazy.
back just to unleash
No,
because like that's. I mean, you just you start going. But no, we
nah,
just
dude.
it
It's
ain't about that.
crazy.
It's about the time. But the reason we went into that because like when we do this show, when we did Punks Rage Radio, and even with us doing Black Age shows, Tertel was a big proponent about comic books in general. If you ever spent time with this man, he would talk about all types of comics. So when we do these shows, we do Black Age, we talk about him as and his legacy. But I also want to have fun with what we do in this thing. The thing that we do is supposed to be a fun thing. At least I hope so. We make we want to make a little bit of cash and hopefully make a living off of it too. But let's talk about like the things that's happening in the culture, the different stuff that's going on. I want to bring more of that because I was talking to somebody one time. Like sometimes you see veteran creators and they nose to the grindstone and there's that spark that's in their eyes, and when you want to do this thing, it's gone. So like I want to kind of like just anything, what we reading, what's going on, like this what we just had right here. That was
You think it's
fire.
gone, or you don't? You think it's gone, Joe, or do you think it's evolved? Like,
No, I'm saying like when it comes to sometimes when you're so busy doing the thing, like all of us create comics, but sometimes I've done it where I'm so into what I'm trying to do because when you publishing, I'm writing, I'm trying to publish, I'm trying to get the money, trying to get the funding, and so you're down so long that you forget, at least me, at a time, not all the time, not a lot, but it's been a time where I've been so into it I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I'm not even enjoying the culture I'm in. So I
You
always
forget
like
what made you excited
what made
about it.
you want to do it. So always kind of come back. And I love like when Rob Liefeld was being fiery now, that's how he was. I mean, he didn't they used to fire him back in the day. He didn't fire back. But like the fact that he's in the news for just being who he is, because he was always lightning rod for something, and he's back at it. Todd McFarlane, some of the veterans, who are coming back and doing this stuff. It's interesting to me. So I come up and I get my pencil, come off the grindstone, and I go to a comic book store and I pick up a book. I went to PocketCon, man, And I got my book, my Babylon Volume 6 from they had. I didn't even have to get it mailed to me. They were the Microphone Misfits was there, and I got it. I was happy because now I get my now hold on, I get it signed by everybody, and I get my collection completed. So that's just the fan in me to want to do that, you know. So that's why, like, when we talk about, when you just went on that when you just was talking about Nate and getting fiery. That's the whole deal. I want to talk when we have next week. We're gonna have some guests on. I'm not sure we're gonna have. I got to see who's coming. Um, I want to talk more about that. We're gonna have more topic stuff that's going on,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get into it because we sometimes don't get into the culture like we used to do that a lot, talk about it, but now I want to do it more. But anyway, all three of us are creators, and all of us got stuff that we do, so we can let people know where they can grab it if they want to. D, start with you.
Oh man, microphonemisfits.com. Again, like said, Escape from Babylon Volume 6 is out. Like been getting really good reviews on the music. I feel like comic book reviewers are scared to review because we the hip hop guys and they think we're gonna beat them up or something. Like I can you can trash the book, but I love the book. Like the book is almost not even almost, it is like an homage to like our shorties, and we satirize, what's been going on, what was going on with the old versus young and the 50 years of hip hop stuff. So it's a really fun read, and the music is just really really fun. Enjoying those joints. So yeah, you can get that on like the microphonemisfits.com, get the comic book and album. And if you just want to hear the music, you can stream us, whatever. If that's your thing, you want to give us 3/5 of a penny, you can just go on Spotify and all that type of stuff. The microphonemisfits.com, THEMICROPHONEMISFITZ, the Microphone Misfits. Who else could it be?
Yes, and D, remind me. I got to know somebody who review comics. I'm gonna try to send you his info after the fact. But anyway, for me, Punks of
Oh,
Rage. Just Google
let's do it.
Punks of Rage, and you'll find my whole life. Nate, what you hawking? Let the people know.
My book is a book called Dark, DARC, apostrophe.
Darkness.
Appropriate,
It,
man. That's
it
no wonder we got this right here. That's the appropriate
Very
moment.
appropriate.
and
You are in
it
the
is on
shadows, sir.
Kickstarter, not for the kiddies, not for the kiddies at all. So this one, I say it goes hard. The first issue went hard. This one, it's just a little more spicier. Third issue is gonna be crazy because it's gonna have fights and all kind of stuff in it. So that's the one on Kickstarter right now, and after that we're gonna do Breeder and then Curse Risen Unification. So we got um, and the Dracula book is coming up. Dracula whooping that ass
Oh snap!
is coming up at the end of somewhere at the end of the year. So that's be on the lookout for that. That's gonna be fun.
Nate, will you come back and join us for one of these other shows to talk about more? As far as the ins and outs of the industry. Would you come back and holler at us after this? After we're done with our Black Age series.
Oh, sure.
Please, please.
Anytime y'all want me to. I mean, the only thing is that I got to get this streaming thing working right.
Yeah, get your
But
logo in there, man, so we don't have
yeah,
to stare at the shadow, man. But
I
anyway,
know, right?
this was a good show. I needed this show. I was happy that you guys
Yes.
came and talked. D, and of course, always Nate. We gonna have you again. I don't, like I said, I don't know who's coming next week, but everybody who listen to this tomorrow when this drop, we will reconvene again next week. So we'll
And
see
if
y'all
you
in a
like
week.
the show, remember to
Subscribe.
like and subscribe. Hit that
Yeah,
bell, for
I'm.
notifications. Like and subscribe.
We got about
You gotta hit the like
we got
and you
about
gotta
five.
subscribe.
Yes, you
Like
do.
wipe your feet before you enter these digital streets. Like,
and
subscribe,
and
and hit
subscribe.
that bell.
I'm gonna have to put the little flyer when we start doing this. I'm gonna have to put the little flyer down there. But thank you all, and we're gonna have this thing lit up and done nice. But we appreciate you guys, and we got some subscribers that came on. So peace, everybody. We'll see y'all in a week.
All right.
Bless.
Take it easy, everybody.